Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Today is going to be a very peculiar episode because I am recording this in my car at my workplace. I figured I would get another session in, so I brought this lovely little book with me, and we're just going to continue where we left off with Himmler takes over Wesselsburg. It's raining outside. I'm not sure if you can hear it. I'm running the heat in my car too because it's freezing outside. So let's without further ado, let's just get right in. Himmler takes over Wesselsburg. The castle was immediately taken over by the SS on a 100-year lease at a nominal rental rate. At a nominal rent of 1 mark a year. Himmler immediately instituted a program of extensive rebuilding and renovation. He laid the foundation stone of Wesselsburg himself. As work began, the castle slowly evolved and became both a reconstructed medieval fortress and a place of spiritual communion. Wesselsburg included a chapel, a private meditation cloister, and a library of over 12,000 books. Himmler also planned a triptych painting to demonstrate his ideas on the role of the order. His instructions to the painter intended to carry out this commission asked him to depict the attack of an SS troop in war, in which I envisage the representation of a dead or mortally wounded SS man who is married to show that from death itself, and despite it, new life springs. A field in a new land being plowed by a Defense Corps farmer, an SS man, the newly founded village with the families and numerous children. Every room within Wesselsburg was furnished in a completely individual style, with not a single piece of furniture, ornament, or decorative feature being uniform. Fitzgerald describes how not even a single desk was duplicated. Only leading craftsmen of every branch had been employed to produce fine tapestries, solid oak furniture, wrought iron door handles, candlesticks. Priceless carpets were acquired. Curtains of heavy brocade flanked the high windows. Doors were carved and embellished with precious metals and stones. Built in the old Germanic style of a triangular foundation, the Berg's towers rose high over the surrounding forest. Himmler and German heroes. Himmler laid down that each room should be named after and associated with Germanic heroes of the past and in some way reflect their lives and achievements. There were rooms dedicated to Charlemagne, Heinrich the Fowler, Otto the Great, Henry the Lion, Philip of Swabia, Frederick Barbarossa, Frederick of Hohenstaufen, Conrad IV, and other famous Germanic rulers. The Barbarossa room was reserved for Hitler, and the Heinrich the Fowler chamber for Himmler. In the Heinrich the Fowler room, Himmler kept the replica of the Spear of Destiny lying on a faded cushion of red velvet and enclosed within a case of antique leather. Himmler frequently held conversations with what he believed to be the spirit of Heinrich the Fowler and declared that he received advice from the man he believed to be his own ancestor. He was fond of saying, "In this case, King Heinrich would have acted as follows." Himmler remained obsessed with Heinrich the Fowler throughout his period in power. In 1936, he celebrated the thousandth anniversary of the king's death with a festival of remembrance in Quedlinburg, which was a town founded by Heinrich that nestled in the Harz Mountains. The following year, Himmler disinterred the king's bones and reburied them in the crypt of Quedling Cathedral. In 1938, he founded the King Heinrich Memorial Foundation for the purpose of reviving the spirit and deeds of the king in our time. On the 2nd of July each year, Himmler held a midnight ritual in the crypt to commemorate the birth of the king. Himmler felt a particular identification with this monarch as he had checked the progress of Slav invaders and made Germany strong for his own son Otto to become Holy Roman Emperor. Like his hero, Himmler consciously saw himself as resisting the Asiatic hordes and as the leader of a crusade for German expansion in the East. No expense was spared in the work of reconstructing and renovating Wesselsburg. The room contained jewels, suits of armor, shields, swords, and even clothes that had been associated in some way with each of the figures to whom they were dedicated. The walls were decorated with rich tapestries and hung with paintings. Himmler also told the architects that he wanted a Gobelin tapestry with the figure of a fully developed virginal girl, a future mother, and on the facing wall to be carved in stone the figure of a mother with a half-grown lad who is becoming a man. Initial plans for Wesselsburg. Himmler's initial plan was to return Wesselsburg into a Reich school for SS leaders, where leaders would receive advanced ideological training. The courses that were originally designed to be taught at the castle were archaeology, prehistory, and mythology. All these subjects were given a heavily German orientation. Under the influence of Willigut, Himmler's vision for Wesselsburg changed, and he came to look upon it as the center of his knightly order and the spiritual focus for all Aryans. In his mind, it was a site that would become as sacred as Rome, Glastonbury, or Jerusalem. In Wesselsburg Castle, senior SS officers came together to discuss and share their dark ideals. Sometimes a new candidate would be initiated in what was nicknamed the Ceremony of the Stifling Air. From the charged psychological atmosphere in which it took place, the dining room at Wesselsburg measured 30.5 by 44 meters, 100 by 145 feet, and around the oak round table, the SS officers sat on high-backed chairs covered in pigskin, with each officer's name engraved on a silver plate that hung from the back of the chair. When they stayed at Wesselsburg, SS officers were deliberately given a different room each time in order to enable them to become familiar with the atmosphere of the castle as a whole, the individual history of the spiritual figures to whom each room was dedicated, and the part that the Spear of Destiny had played in the life of each man. Unemployed German workers began excavating the moat of the castle, but before long they were replaced by concentration camp laborers. A total of 3,900 of them worked on the project, 1,285 of them dying during its construction. Originally, they were professional criminals who had been sent to work, but with the outbreak of war, gypsies were sent to labor on the project. Following the start of hostilities against the Soviet Union, Russian prisoners of war were also forced to work on the building of Wesselsburg. They were treated with appalling cruelty because of their supposed racial inferiority, and most died after only a few months of their forced labor. Their bodies were burned in the camp crematorium, and their ashes scattered and used as fertilizer for the camp garden. Himmler took no account of the human cost of building his grand design. All that mattered to him was the realization of his vision. The architect in charge of renovating Wesselsburg My apologies. There's like phlegm in my throat. Hang on. Made the main focus of his design the North Tower. He laid the ground floor in the form of an isosceles triangle, resulting in the Wesselsburg area being shaped like a spear. Himmler, of course, slept in his room at the castle with the replica of the Spear of Destiny at his bedside. Further evidence of the mystical function of the castle is demonstrated by the fact that even the architects working on the project described it as the center of the world. It also stood on a nexus of key lines, which was another cult preoccupation of Himmler and the occult bureau that he ran. In the crypt of Wesselsburg, under a series of arches, stood a black marble altar with the letters SS engraved upon it in silver. There, Himmler and his disciples gathered to carry out a number of occult ceremonies. They meditated on honor, the power of race, and the imminent arrival of the new man. In the crypt was a set circular vault with 12 seats, one for each of the 12 SS initiates who came here. There was a round table which was consciously intended as an analogy with the round table, and in its center was a flame. The ceiling of the crypt displayed a swastika design set inside a sun wheel. The emblem has been often referred to as a black sun. There was a golden disc in the center of it, but that was removed when Himmler ordered Wesselsburg to be demolished at the end of the war. The SS Totenkopfring, the Death's Head Ring, was designed by Willigut, who advised Himmler extensively on the correct rituals and practices to be carried out at the castle. When an SS officer died, his Totenkopfring was taken to Wesselsburg and buried within the castle. Himmler and his acolytes carried ceremonial daggers, wore silver signet rings, and dressed in black uniforms. Experts from the Ahnenerbe drew up coats of arms for Himmler and SS leaders, even though hardly any of them had the slightest drop of aristocratic blood flowing through their veins. The castle was the place where Himmler liked to go to escape from the administration of the Gestapo, the police, the SS, and the concentration camps. In his inner sanctum of Wesselsburg, he could concentrate fully on the spiritual side of his mission, surrounded by the like-minded initiates of his dark order. And there is where we will call it. Oh shoot, I closed the book, and now I have to re-find my page. Womp womp, I guess. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. We will pick up next time where? Yes, the development of Himmler's ideology at Wesselsburg. We will pick up there. Thank you all again for joining me. I know this one's admittedly a bit short, but do remember, I am at work right now. I'm taking this on my break. I'm doing this, so I do have to go back soon. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for all coming in and, enjoying this with me. Like and subscribe if you so choose, if you want to see more of this. And take care and have a nice rest of your day and or night. Goodbye.